It took us a month to reach the base camp of the most remote face of Everest, known as the Kangshung face. This side of the mountain is the most remote side. So I did what's known as the route finding. No one had ever been here before. This was a virgin section of Everest, a huge unclimbed section of the peak.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a video that I could not have even imagined ever having to put together, at least in the way that I'm putting it together. An old friend of mine, Ed Webster, passed away unexpectedly on Thanksgiving Day. For those of you who do not know who Ed Webster is, he is a legendary Mount Everest pioneer who in 1988 pioneered with a small team of only 3 others a new route on the Kangshung face of Everest. During that expedition, Stephen Venables, who I just interviewed recently and have yet to bring you that interview, he became the first Brit ever to summit Everest without oxygen. But now, far more importantly, an inspiring man, a great friend of many, great Everest climber, amazing rock climber, writer of guidebooks, author, photographer. Ed Webster is no longer with us, and many are in shock and saddened at his loss. I'm sure none more than his family. Today in this video, I'm going to bring you some snippets from a video that Ed and I put together back in 2012 to highlight Ed's many lectures. He was a great historian and he knew so much about the mystery of Mallory and Irvin. And Ed and I had actually made plans to talk right around this time so we could do an interview not only about the mystery of Mallory and Irvin, but that famed 1988 expedition. And Ed bivouacked up at about 27,000 feet, hallucinating that there was a fire in front of him to keep his hands warm. 8 fingertips were frozen off on that expedition by Ed. So let me take you into a little bit of the world of Ed Webster. And if you are watching right now, one thing that you're going to want to remember to do right after this video is over is go to Amazon and pick up a copy of this outrageously awesome book called Snow in the Kingdom: My Storm Years on Mount Everest. Guess what? You knew this was coming. I was going to ask if you would please take a moment to subscribe to this channel and also consider becoming a member of the channel. For 99 cents a month, you get exclusive content, including the top secret document video that caused so much of a flurry and a fuss and controversy that I took it offline to share only with my members. You can also find that video over on my Patreon page, which is listed underneath. Exclusive content, 99 cents a month. You can't beat that. I hadn't seen him in so many years and just got an email from him late this summer that we were going to get together in the fall before the winter and do an interview. And now here we are, stunned, shocked, and saddened that Ed is no longer with us. And so all I have is the video that we put together, and I'm going to try to share with you some of that now. In the spring of 1988, on his 3rd Everest expedition, Ed was one of the international 4-man team that pioneered a brand new route up the peak's most dangerous and remote side, the 12,000-foot-high, avalanche-raked precipices of Everest's Kangshung East Face in Tibet. Ed and his 3 partners, Robert Anderson, Paul Tier, and Stephen Venables, climbed the world's highest mountain via a never-before-attempted route, in adventurous and impeccable style, with no oxygen bottles, no radios, or no Sherpa assistance. Ed's 1988 team is still the smallest, just 4 friends with no outside help to ascend one of the major new routes up Mount Everest.
The reason we climbed Everest without Sherpas is we didn't want to take the moral responsibility when there was about a 99% chance that one of the Sherpas would have been seriously injured and perhaps killed. And so we decided we're going to have to carry all of our equipment ourselves, just the 4 of us, to 27,000 feet, to 28,000 feet. At over 28,000 feet, there's only 1/3 the oxygen that there is at sea level, climbing at this extreme altitude with no bottled oxygen. This was our idealistic goal. We were young and brave and maybe a few other things, but we kept climbing higher and higher, and I got to 28,000 700 feet above sea level. I was hallucinating. I passed out. I had this amazing hallucination. I looked up. I kept going till suddenly I had this gut feeling that even if I went another 10 feet, I might not come back alive. Robert pointed, and I turned around, and I saw the most exhausted human being I've ever seen in my life staggering down the mountain. He collapsed next to us. It was Stephen. He was alive. He said to us, "I did it. I reached the summit yesterday afternoon."
Ed came by my house a half dozen times while we were editing this video in 2012. And my former spouse, now my former spouse, met him and she just said, there is a guy, he is filled with humility, kindness, genuinely interested in everything that you had to say. Just a talented human being. And one of the things, if you take a moment to speak with him, or took a moment to speak with him, you would notice that 8 of his fingertips were missing. And the reason that that happened was when he was on Everest in '88, he was watching the sunrise from above the South Col over 26,000 feet, took a few photographs as the sun was warming up the side of the mountain. And in those short moments with his gloves off, his fingertips froze.
Beautiful sunrise. This type of light is known as alpenglow, the golden light at dawn. I pulled off my overmitts. I had 2 layers of gloves on. I pulled my overmitts off impulsively. I took out my Nikon. Took 8 photographs in 2 minutes. It was so cold. It was like holding a piece of dry ice in my hands. It was so cold. Do it as fast as you can. I took the pictures. I put the camera away, and it was too late.
What Ed did do is send me this limited edition version of his book, Snow in the Kingdom, in a hard case that holds the book. And this edition, gold-leafed pages, and on the inside is a special commemorative page with signatures from Bradford Washburn, Reinhold Messner, Dick Bass, David Brashears, Peter Habeler, Tom Hornbein, and the other members of the expedition, Paul Tier, Robert Anderson, and Stephen Venables. Absolutely incredible. These books he sells, I'm sure there might be 1 or 2. He was selling these books for $700 about 10 years ago. It's an amazing book. Ed Webster, you will be missed. You were a kind and venerable soul. I am honored that we were friends. I will always think of you when I'm in front of an audience, remembering how much you inspired young and old about your stories, about following your passions, about following your dreams. That you only have so much time in this life. Get after the things that make your heart happy. Coming up in a moment, there's going to be a video coming up on the screen that YouTube and I think that you're going to want to watch. Be sure to subscribe, share it with anybody who might be interested in this. Ed Webster, you were a good soul. You will be missed dearly by many. Thanks for being here. Stay safe. Peace out, my friends.